We are standing in front of the door that leads to the chamber where the Union of Utrecht was signed in 1579. It has also functioned as a classroom for the University of Utrecht, which was founded during the Dutch Golden Age in 1636. Hello everybody. In the article by Erik Jan Sluiter on Brabant-Rubbish and in the book by Price, we have read that there were a lot of Flemish immigrants and influences coming from the south after the fall of Antwerp in 1585. This is interesting because it makes you wonder how Dutch the Dutch Golden Age actually was. We have chosen this aspect as the central theme of our presentation, and we will investigate two primary sources as a case study. And we will investigate how and to what extent they were influenced by the South. The first source we have chosen is the painting Winter Landscape with Ice Skaters from Hendrik Averkamp from 1608. It is a narrative scene which shows the common life in the Dutch Golden Age. It's also a landscape painting which is considered to be typical for the Dutch Golden Age. Hendrik Averkamp is one of the best known landscape artists from the 17th century. He was born in Amsterdam but moved to Kampen when he was young. It is thought that he received his first training from a local master there, but after that he moved to Amsterdam to learn painting. He arrived in Amsterdam in a very rich and inspiring environment with a lot of Flemish painters and influences. There was also a large group of Flemish painters which gave a very big boost to the development of the landscape painting as an autonomous genre. One of the most important painters of this development was Gillis van Koningslo. He was born in Antwerp but fled to Amsterdam in 1595. It is believed that Averkamp was one of his students and that van Koningslo inspired him to specialize in landscape painting. Another important Flemish influence is the landscape painting from the 16th century, Pieter Bruegel. There are a lot of similarities visible in the painting we've chosen. For example, the high horizon, the hills in the background, the high amount of details and a narrative character. We know that Averkamp knew the paintings by Bruegel, first of all because his master had several of his paintings, and second of all because there were a lot of prints by Bruegel circulating in Holland at that time.
Our second source is Jan Nagel. He's a painter from 1560 to 1602, and he's from the Dutch city of Haarlem. He could produce at a fast pace a lot of paintings, and they were quite colorful, and the setting was really emphasized on the people and their story, of course, because he thought that the story was really important and not so much the environment. He was inspired by biblical themes, and Jan Nagel was also part of the chamber of rhetoric called Trouw moet blijken. It is also situated in Haarlem and still exists today. The blazon he created, Chamber of Rhetoric. You could say that Jan Nagel was thus far more interested in the rhetoric side and in the story behind his paintings rather than in thus the environment or some stylistic style. So it wasn't about the work he did, but about the real art. This in contrast with his tutor, Molenaar. The work of tutor Cornelis Molenaar from 1555 to 1589 were a bit different from that of Jan Nagel. He also emphasized the woodland scenes, but with a lesser emphasis on the people and the story. So also he was quite famous for his fast painting, so he could paint a landscape painting within a day. That was quite nice, but they were quite roughly painted, and they were used with darker colors. Also he used biblical themes, but the story wasn't that important. People's portraits were especially in a bad condition, so he just kept it with the landscape paintings. This is certainly a difference from the Nagel's paintings, they were much finer. Many of his paintings weren't finished because of a lack of discipline and because he fancied the liquor and the booze. So he was more of a laborer in that sense and not so much an artist who liked his paintings. We have researched 2 case studies. Afrikamp was influenced by the South, by Van Koningslo, in the genre of landscape painting, and stylistically by Van Breukelen. Thus, Van Afrikamp learned a lot from the Flemish artists. On the other side, we have Jan Nagel and Molenaar. These two, there was a kind of influence between the two. They also did the landscape paintings with the woodlands, with the people, but there were also differences. Especially the mindset behind the painting was different. In Holland it was more about story, and in the South it was more about earning quick money, at least in this case study.